Good morning, good evening, and good night. This video is going to be showing y'all how to apply tips to the plastic fingers just like this. Only need a couple of things. You need tips that are going to basically be your natural nail, and then the tips you want to apply your acrylic over. Um, these nail nippers are actually for toes, but I use this to get under the cuticle because when you put the tip goes underneath the cuticle. Sometimes it gets stuck. Sometimes acrylic runs back in there and you need to get it out. And I had to literally stop the video and put on some lotion because my hands were so fucking ashy. It was ridiculous. There was no way I was going to continue on with these dry hands I had. Look at that makes me want to like literally gag. But yeah, just put on lotion here so I can continue on. So all you're going to be seeing me do here, I have a nail tip underneath here. So I'm just digging it out. This is important when you're dealing with these type of tips because if you let this build up after you keep practicing and you put a new tip, you break it off, you keep practicing, you put a new one, it's going to build up and then it's going to be almost impossible to get another nail tip under there after a certain point. So this just makes it easier. So after every practice set you do, take them off, dig under there, go get the nail tip because it's under there for sure because the nail glue gets back there. Sometimes even acrylic, when it runs over because it's hollow under there, it will run into that little divot and then prevent you from allowing a tip to get into there next time when you want to practice. So now I'm just going to take my file and buff out all the old nail glue that's on the fake nail plate here and get it back, not smooth, but like even, just all one surface and relatively level is a better word for it with my file. So when I go in and I start applying my nail tips, it's two things that I notice. They're all, because the fingers are all the same size, you're basically going to be using all the same number. You want them to fit sidewall. I'm sorry, not sidewall to sidewall. You want it to fit really close to the cuticle as far as it looking square, if that makes sense. And I'm not using the normal side of the tip. I'm using the end with the number. I'm putting the number underneath the cuticle because for two reasons. It doesn't have as much of a C curve or like a hump to it. And when you use the side with the well, sometimes when you put the glue, the well, because it has a well, it's not adhering to whatever's underneath the plastic finger because it's just not enough space in there. It's not a real nail. So you turn it around, you shove it under there, and that's it. So what you're going to see me do is you don't need that much glue. Just a bloop, a little bit of glue. I turn it over and I slide it underneath. What you're going to see me doing on each and every one of these nails, you're going to see me place my thumb over top. I'm doing that because you have to know your products. These are chemicals. Nail glue cures faster under warmth and heat. In our natural hand, does that make sense? In our actual hand, we have natural warmth and body heat. So when we're putting on tips to the finger, we don't have to think about putting our thumb over because we have heat in our body. These nail practice fingers don't. So you're going to see me once again, size it, make sure it gets in there good and fine. And once I see it does slide under there, I put my glue, I put my thumb, and I wait. You're waiting because it is not going to cure as fast. So you have to be a little bit more patient and a little bit more particular with how long you wait before you set it down. And it's gonna be the same thing. I'm just gonna apply all the tips the same way. I'm checking it first. I'm putting some nail glue. I'm putting it underneath. I'm placing my thumb. I'm setting it down. This here, you see how it's not adhering? I have to push hard. I really don't want to use this tip because it's going to fall off just like that. So I'm just going to use the other side and really just try to lay it as flat. On a nail tip like this, I would apply a little bit more glue. That way, when I press down firm, the glue will spread and give me more of a surface area to work with, because it won't pop up like how y'all saw. And you're gonna see me having some trouble here because it just wasn't working. So I'm gonna press, I'm gonna hold, and I'm gonna wait, and then you'll see shortly. So here you can see the in-between space. I'm still having to press because I it's just not adhering. I don't have any more of the other sizes I was using, so this one is a little bit bigger. So that's why I'm really having to take the time and just hold my finger and just try to get it to cure and level out underneath there and stay in place. Now I'm going in and I'm trimming down the tip. I'm cutting it as short as I possibly can, and once I'm finished with this step, this is going to basically be the start. Think of this as your client comes to you, they want a full set. This is the natural nail. This is the nail plate that you're going to be building off of. You're now going to put a tip on top of this at the free edge. You're going to file your sidewalls just like you would a natural nail. You want to get them down because you do need to still let them kind of be a uniform square shape, or even if you want around the corners, you can do them however you want. But you treat this how you do the natural nail. You do the sides, you do the underneath, you file the nail plate, you get them short, square, and even. Another thing is you can't be super rough. You see how I'm placing my thumb on top of the nail tip and then I'm going in and I'm filing? Or if I'm working on the sides, I'm trying to keep my thumb on either side of the nail. It's because it's not on that good yet. So I'm really being light. I'm putting my thumb on the other side I'm working on and I'm filing the other side. If I'm filing the side with no finger, I'm filing light. If I'm filing the edge, I'm putting my thumb over top, then I'm filing just like that. Because if not, if you're a little bit too rough, the nail tip you just placed on is gonna pop off. I'm going in and I'm filing the top of the nail plate because when I go to apply my tip on top of this, if I were to leave my tip smooth, the nail glue wouldn't adhere to anything. So you need to file it, get some roughness on it so that the glue and the nail tip will stick how you need it to this nail tip. So with this part of the process should be a lot easier. It's not applying the I mean, it's a nail tip, but it's not like the plastic finger. So I just put a dot of nail glue and grab my finger and just press it on. One thing I will say is that you still do have to kind of give it a moment to cure down. It don't be so quick because it is still like a plastic tip. So just wait a little bit before really letting go, and you should be straight. Just like that. So now you're gonna see me go on and do the rest. And that's really it. Now this part is filing the tip of I'm sorry, this portion is when you start to file where you overlay the false tip to what is your fake free edge and blending that out with the file. You do this so that you increase your adhesion. You do this so that if you do have any gaps, they will just come right off with the file. I do my size, and from this point forward, I treat this how I would a client's hands. I'm filing the sides down, I'm getting things even, I'm going underneath, I'm filing where the tip meets the nail, I'm shaping up my tip so that I'm prepping for acrylic and I'm getting things going that way. This is the point I'm talking about where the nail tip meets the natural nail and you're filing just the nail plate, just like that, side to side, and make sure you get sidewall to sidewall. And another thing, when you're applying your tips, make sure they're edge to edge, wall to wall. That's so important when it comes to lifting, when it comes to your new growth and your retention. That is very important. Here I noticed I wanted to sharpen up my points. That one on the left was very pointy, so I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna try something different and really try to get that sharp, pointy stiletto. So now you see me here just going in, only focusing on the edge, really making them come to a point and look sharp. See how it's kind of rounded? So that's what I'm doing here and going back on each one and just focusing and sharpening up that line.